Welcome back to the Football Tragics. I'm your host, Aaron, joined here by Campo and Morty. How are you today, lads?
Very well.
No Tony with us today. We assume he's probably still crying over United's Champions League exit.
100%.
Absolute shambles they are United right now. Look, it's going to be a quick one, this one, because it's, like a half week. There's a few FA Cup games, but it's like 4 games. But before we jump into those games, we're going to review a few games from this week. Both your boys were in action and also Everton this morning. So that first game is Tottenham's 2-0 win away at Brighton. Campo, you get to take us away. Thoughts on the game?
Very comfortable. As the pattern goes, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. We're bound for a win. Harry Kane missed an absolute. But then it was just cruise control after the luckiest goal of his career he'll ever score. Romero's deflects off his shin, goes in, and then Harry Kane somehow misses from 2 yards out on a tight angle, but bends it in past Sanchez from further out on the same kind of angle. But Brighton never really threatened. It was just comfortable.
I mean, it puts you in a good position on the table, that's for sure, especially with, we'll get into that obviously, but the Arsenal game moments later. But yeah, what were your thoughts, Morty, on the game?
Oh, I thought Spurs were in for another shambolic performance again, but turns out they managed to pull through it. But again, they still don't. I don't know. There's something about them that just isn't going right for them. And
well, I think that's evident, the fact that they're very hot and cold. You know, win one, lost one. Yeah. Like Campo knows all about it. They're not in the best form right now. It's kind of very, up and down. But yeah, look, they're in a better spot now. Right, kind of in that Champions League mix as you have been. Campo, are you confident that you guys can get the Champions League football, or do you still think the Arsenals and stuff are ahead of you?
I think if Arsenal fall off, I think we're in prime position. But it's all on Arsenal. If they can handle the pressure, they'll go through. But if not, I think we'll jump them.
Yeah, well, you guys will have a game to play against them whenever that North London derby is rescheduled for. We don't know, but I think that game could be the one that decides Champions League football, which will be massive because early in the season it wouldn't have had that same impact. I think you guys would have played them maybe when they were in probably worse form. I'm not sure how they were looking back at that time.
They were in okay form. They had no players. They had everyone out with they had one person out with COVID, but AFCON injuries. They loaned players out. It's just
So you happy with the win?
I'm very happy with how well the new boys have taken to the Prem.
Yeah,
they have been absolutely vital for us in the past 2 months. You saw when Harry Winks is trying to play that Bentancur role, he's just shit. Both these signings have been absolutely world class.
Yeah, they've been quite underrated in a way because I think, like you're obviously spotting it being a Spurs fan, but they're not really getting any chat going about them, which I mean it's fine. Like they haven't done anything that's kind of lit the world on fire, but you're happy with them doing their job there and coming in and make a positive impact. Harry Kane obviously, broke the most away goals record in the Prem in about 100 and something games less than Wayne Rooney. So I mean, look, it's not a trophy, but Spurs fans will take it.
Yeah, he's the best striker in the league for a reason. He's the only one that can catch Shearer's record. But yeah, I'm hoping he does because records are there to be broken, and it'd be good to someone knock him off.
Yeah, well, he's only 28, so he's got what you'd say a good
6 years, I think.
6-7 years. Who knows how long? It's just a matter of. I mean, he should stay in the Prem. You can't see him going to another European league.
Yeah,
but yeah. All right, let's get into the next game. Morty, you get to take this one away. 2-0 over Arsenal at the Emirates. I mean, standard stuff. I think this was the result that most people were expecting.
Pretty much. I mean, Arsenal, they threw up some solid-ish to start with. Like, they troubled us a little bit. Did some things well. They're playing all right football, but, as soon as the ball went up for Jota's number, he, magically turned it on again, slot one bottom corner. I mean, yeah, getting beaten near post, not exactly the best look for Ramsdale, so none of his smart aleck attitude appeared after that game, so that was always good to see. And Bobby finished it off. The bloke just I think it's like 4 or 5 games in a row. He just scores against Arsenal. He does not.
I think he's got 9 in 16, and then Jota's got 7 in 7 for Liverpool against Arsenal. So both them two love playing them. So
it's good to see him back on the pitch. I mean, Salah, had a bit of a well-earned break to start it off. Came on, didn't really need to do much, and we just pushed our way through. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a top 4 battle, and I'm not going to say it looked like a training run, but Liverpool didn't look like they kind of got out of third gear, really, and especially like another team would have come in guns blazing after losing, towards in the Champions League last week, although we went through. But this probably would have been a game to stamp their authority and come out, put away 5, but they just chilled basically. So I was happy with it.
It's a massive result for you guys, obviously. It seems like you always kind of play Arsenal when they're in their best form. So they go 10 in a row, for example, whatever, and then bam, they get slapped up by you. It happened early in the season as well. They were in some good form, and you blew them off the park. I think it just shows the levels to, I'll say top 2, just maybe top 3 if we squeeze Chelsea in there, but for the most part, compared to the rest of the league, Arsenal, they were in good form, but then they play the big boys and they get walked off the park, really. But yeah, massive result for you guys. Puts you 1 point behind City. Same game played now, so there's no who's got more games in hand. Campo, thoughts on the game? Obviously, it's a good result for you guys, given that Arsenal kind of just a little bit ahead of you.
Yeah, I was hoping Liverpool won this game. I was surprised Arsenal didn't try and postpone it. They always seem to do that in big games to keep this run going. But again, Liverpool didn't get out of third gear, and they still won. Arsenal, with all the form in the world, it shows how clear City and Liverpool are to the rest of the league.
Yeah, spot on. All right, we're going to move to the bottom of the league now, and it was Everton coming away with a 1-0 win. Controversial a little bit. 99th minute winner from Iwobi, of all people. Morty, you get to take us away here, given that you're a Liverpool fan.
Mate, the bloke who invaded the pitch just cost like Everton going down. I mean, that bloke doesn't interrupt that game. I think Everton just hold on. Newcastle hold on and he sends in a draw. But all those minutes added on, everything added on toward the end of that, they found a way. And yeah, I think that kind of settles the bottom 3. I think that's it, done.
You think so, given the fact that Everton have probably the worst run out of anybody coming up? You think this 3 points is enough for them?
But we can sit here and our only hope would have been that Burnley can sorry, I wouldn't say hope. I said, but everyone's expectation is that Burnley's still got the games in hand. In reality, I don't see them getting enough points to gap that 4 points to Everton. Like, I just see them all losing from now on. Like, I don't see going forward.
I don't want to say it's done just yet. I think even the likes of Brentford, who are, say, 8 points clear and not just safe currently, maybe 1 or 2 wins for them will be enough. But I think it's still just getting started. I think it's a massive result for Everton. And yeah, I was actually sitting there thinking that pitch invader is going to cost Everton. I thought for some reason, a Newcastle goal late on, but there was 14 minutes at a time because of that stoppage. Allen gets a red card, which I want to get your guys' opinion on. Is that a red card or not? But yeah, Iwobi of all people, kind of forgotten man, really. And then he shows up and scores the winner. I mean, it could be enough to keep him up, but I think given the fact that they've got the hardest run in, it might not be enough just yet. Camper, what were your thoughts on the game?
I was going to say that protester saved Everton this game, but again, Calvert-Lewin on the bench comes on. He puts the perfect weight on that pass, and it's just a one-on-one with Iwobi. I'm surprised he scored on his weak foot, especially. But again, it's just I've never seen a crowd so vocal like that when that goal went in. I've never heard a stadium erupt like that, like in general. It was absolutely madness. The volume coming through my phone, it was hurting my ears. I just thought that was incredible. You saw how much passion that meant for Everton, especially Lampard. The amount of emotion that poured out of him was incredible. But on that relegation battle, it's Everton versus Burnley next. And if Burnley beat Everton, they're 1 point behind, and they have Norwich coming up. And Everton go on this massive hard run. I wouldn't say it's done just yet. I think if Everton pick up that win against Burnley, I think it writes them off. But it's all on next week, I think.
Yeah, Everton for sure. We're looking at that game, licking their lips, thinking that could be the one that should be enough to send Burnley down for the most part, and then hopefully keep them, that little bit above Watford there. But a poor result there, yeah, it's going to heat up. But I think, their run-in is dreadful, to say the least. So I think with, 11 games to go, 9 games to go, whatever it is, I think Everton have 11. It's going to go down to the wire for sure. Look, we're going to get into the rounds now, the match week 30. Leeds kick it off away from home against Wolves. It's only a short round. There's only 4 games to get through. Campo, given that Leeds are also in that relegation fight, how do you see them performing this week?
I think under this new manager, they're performing a lot better. They're not as exposed at the back. It's just they've scrapped that man marking system that Bielsa had, and they're looking a lot better. I think this will finish in a draw.
I mean, you've got a Wolves team here who are only, 5 points off top 4 currently. Do they go into this game thinking this is against a relegation-bound team possibly? Let's go get 3 points, and then we're in the chance for top 4 then. What do you think, Morty?
No, everything screams out this game's going to end 0-0 because you've got Wolves. They love to counter. They love to hold that line, and they do whatever they can. And Leeds, all they want to do is score. I mean, yes, their defending is improved. They've got some better, but they're still Leeds at the end of the day, and they're still pretty sloppy at the back. And I can see it going 1-1 or 0-0. Purely just if Leeds score first, it'll end 1-1. If Wolves score first, then maybe they get the win. But everything screams to draw this game. Well,
I'm hoping for my sake, because it's a 7 a.m. Saturday morning game and I've got to be up for it, that it's a cracker. But it could well and truly be the 0-0. As I said, it's a Saturday morning game and it usually happens. I think it happened with was the Watford-Norwich game a few weeks ago where it was meant to finish 0-0, finished 3-0 to Newcastle, Norwich somehow. But this one could definitely shape up to be an absolute snooze fest. But hopefully Leeds, I suppose, to kind of make that title, the relegation fight interesting, come over 3 points. But either way, hopefully a good game. All right, Arsenal, can they bounce back, lads? Morty, we'll start with you again. Against Villa, against Gerrard's boys, Coutinho's there. What are you expecting from this game?
Not much, to be honest. I don't know. These 4 games, I could sit here and sit on the fence for every single one of them because they all kind of cancel each other out, and I don't see anything really. Like, it might be exciting, but it'll be an exciting 3-3. I don't know how it'll go. And realistically, I mean, Arsenal want to bounce back. They'll look towards that Spurs game and go, yeah, that game might decide whatever, but they still have that other game in hand, and I think they'll want to get back to their winning ways. But at the same time, Villa, they've been looking strong, and they usually pull up the performances against the teams that we don't expect, and they've slumped in the games that we thought they'd walk all over them. So I'm going to sit on the fence again. I'm going to go an exciting 2-2 draw.
I'm going to lock in an Aston Villa 2-1 win. I want to see Arsenal obviously slip up again, but I think that if Arsenal do not get a win here, that could then spiral them into a bad run of form because they go from this hot streak, 1 loss in a row, possibly 2 now. It just kind of can get worse and worse unless they bounce back quick. So I'm hoping for a Villa win here. Coutinho masterclass would be great to see. Campo, which way do you see this one?
I'm hoping every time for the past 10 weeks or so, I've said Arsenal are going to lose 3-0. It hasn't happened. But so I'm going to try and reverse my luck. I'm going to say Arsenal win 3-0 and hope for the opposite.
Could be the first time we've ever heard you tip Arsenal, I would think. But we see the reasons why. Reverse psychology. Look, we're going to have to wait to get into your boys, but it's Leicester v Brentford, penultimate game of the rounds. Which way do we see this one? Campo, we'll start with you for now.
After Fofana's heroics this morning, surely he has to start again. He's their best centre-back by a country mile.
But has he not? He's just come back from injury, though. Is it a worry that you rush him in?
He's just signed a new long-term deal to 2027. I think they will play him. I think they will. Just that boost to that squad, I think that'll get them over the line. I think they'll win 2-0.
Yeah, well, they don't exactly have much to play for, I'd say, this season. They're going to finish in that middle of the table. But Brentford, however, I spoke about them. There's still a chance of going down. The 2 wins on the trot here, so a good result here, and that sees them safe, in my opinion. But a poor result here, and it kind of keeps them there, depending on how Leeds perform, if they get 3 points. So I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I think Brentford will have just enough to, a point away from home is not too bad for them. And that's the way I see it. Morty, how do you see it?
Can I sit here and say draw for every game?
I mean, you can if you want.
I'm going to go 1-1 draw again. Just nothing screams anything. And, I mean, they're backing up after Europe, as Campo's favourite line. And Brentford are going to be in need of anything. And I think push comes to shove, they'll be sitting at 1-1, 60th minute, and both teams will just be happy and rolling with that. Leicester will be looking to... They've got nothing to play for, so they're not going to be pushing to get a win, and Brentford will be too scared to lose that point. So I think, 1-1 draw again.
Well, I mean, if you multi these 4 games in a draw, it'll be paying some decent odds. So you make sure you do put some dollars on it, because you'll be kicking yourself if it comes off. But speaking of backing up after Europe, Campo, you love talking about them. West Ham against your boys at home. How do you see this one going?
Well, the whole line of not backing up after Europe, they don't have the strongest squad depth, and they had to go 120 minutes against Sevilla. And they are very good in Europe too. So they pulled it out of the bag in that fixture. I think we just come home too strong in the end. Fatigue has to play a part. You can't play that same 11 2 days later and not have any kind of fatigue. So I think we just come home too strong. I think we'll win 2-0.
Yeah, I'm with you with that. I think that, it's going to have to take a toll, 120 minutes of football. It's a magical result for them in Europe, and it's great to see because they're going to march on. But then going to Spurs only a few days later, without, I think, Gerrard Bowen's still injured, so without their best player, it's gonna take a toll on them. I'll see you guys 2-0, maybe 2-1. Maybe they'll make it a little tricky for you, but I think Harry Kane gets amongst the goals, as he has been recently. And again, puts you at that time probably top 4, hopefully, if Arsenal lose. So going to make things interesting. Morty, how do you see it to wrap us up?
I think they back up. I think this is going to come bite Campo in the arse. He said it all year, backing up after Europe.
Well, they have done it a few times since he said that.
They have done it. That's the thing. They keep doing it, and they stumbled the first time. And then from then on, I think they've backed up every single time. This game is very important to them because it puts them officially clear of Tottenham with their games in hand, and it holds them into that spot. And then, they've still got, I'm pretty sure they still have to play United. No, they don't have to play United, but there are some other games in hand that West Ham can be looking and going, you know what, we're still pushing here. We're still sitting here and could look at it and go, well, maybe we can push to 4th. If Arsenal manage to then lose to Tottenham at the end of that one. So I think they're going to be up for it. They're going to be riding high. The first team to knock Sevilla out of the Europa. First time an English team's done it, English. I reckon they'll get it done. I'm going to sit here and go 2-1. Just continue the Tottenham trend of win, bottle.
Inconsistency. I mean, you're right there about West Ham. Look, as great as it would be to see them win the Europa League, and that's their avenue into the Champions League, they are still in the top 4 race. So they're going to feel as though they can go to Spurs, take a result, take points off Spurs, get them themselves, and really make a push for that top 4 and hopefully get Champions League, because it would be a great fairy tale story. But hopefully this game, it should be the game of the round, but could be a stalemate. We never know how it's going to turn out.
I think it all comes down to their draw. If they have Barcelona, I think they'll go full strength. But if they have a lighter opponent, they're not going to risk an injury, or say if Souček gets injured this game, their whole season's pretty much done.
So you think they are at this point banking on winning the Europa League still?
I do. I think so, because you got Arsenal, you got Spurs on their heels, you got United still in there. they're 3 good chances to overtake them. They could fall down to the Conference League. I think if they want Champions League and a good influx of money, their best bet is Europa.
Yeah, good shout. All right, well, who do you think they'll get in Europa League then? Since the draw will come out overnight, so who do you think they'll get?
I don't even know who's in it
You
anymore.
got Rangers, Barca.
They won't get Barca. I think
Frankfurt.
I'll say Rangers. That'll be a really good tie too.
Morty, what do you reckon? And then we'll get your pick for the Champions League as well while we're at it.
I feel like they could probably pull off a Frankfurt or a Porto, possibly. I mean, one of those clubs, decent clubs, but maybe the smaller of the other ones in there. So.
Yeah, well, they'll definitely be hoping for I suppose, a smaller team because Barca would be hard and Barca are in good form. Who are you thinking? Who would you ideally like Liverpool to get in the Champions League?
Who's left?
I mean, you obviously want an easier club, but do you think you're going to get matched with the Bayern or Real Madrid again?
They want Benfica.
Everybody wants Benfica.
I don't know. I don't know. Looking at that, I don't know who you want because I'd rather the tough game next to take that confidence through because we can draw a Benfica, we can continue on, and then again, much like it, we're battling for that top spot, and we've got a tough game coming up without that confidence. I wouldn't mind pulling off Madrid or a Bayern just to get that big boy out of the way, just because it then puts every other team that come up against us on notice that we are that again. Because I know you go back to our first pods, Liverpool were written off to be the ones the way it goes. So I think that's what I want to see. And City have already got Benfica, so there's no point even asking for it.
They've already got Shakhtar Donetsk somehow.
So we just go through with that, and
it's Champions League. You've got to beat the big boys at some point in the comp, so you may as well get them whenever. I do think there's going to be an all-English matchup this round, whether it's you guys versus Chelsea, you versus City, City versus you guys. I don't know. I think there'll be an English matchup this round. Campo, who are your picks then, real quick?
I was going to say City, Benfica. Chelsea will draw Villarreal, and Paul will get Madrid.
Okay, some good matchups there. All right, well, we'll see you again early next week for the Matchday 30 review. Thanks for joining me, lads. Hopefully we get Tony on for that, and we'll see you next time.
If he's not crying.